Hi, everybody. Welcome to our program. This is English Digest. I'm Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
And today we're going to continue talking about soil liquefaction. This is pretty technical. It's pretty complicated. It's scientific terminology. It's one of those things that nobody knew about until there was a big disaster, and now everybody knows about it. I think on February 5th in Taiwan, nobody knew what soil liquefaction was, or at least very few people did. But on February 7th, after the earthquake, pretty much everybody knew what this was.
Well, now I know what it is, too. I feel very smart. It's sort of connected with something that I'm interested in, and that is sinkholes. When the ground kind of opens up and a big hole appears and swallows things that are on top of the ground because the water is very mushy, it's wet, it's saturated with water.
Every once in a while you see pictures in the newspaper with cars that fell into a hole in the highway or something.
Or the bridge fell into the hole. It's kind of scary.
Yeah, that's a sinkhole.
So today is day 2 of our unit where we're talking about this idea of soil liquefaction, the cause and prevention. We learned a lot in day 1. Now we're going to read through day 2 and discuss some of these terms that we find. Since soil liquefaction is so disastrous, the question then arises, how can it be averted? First and foremost, it's important to avoid construction on soils that are susceptible to liquefaction. This can be determined by several criteria, one of which is the geological approach. The type of geological process that created a soil deposit plays a key role in the chances of that soil becoming liquefied. Soil deposits created near rivers or lakes, those composed of debris, those formed by weathering, and those that are man-made, are all subject to liquefaction, for those conditions result in very loose states for soil particles. The chance of liquefaction also depends on what kind of soil it is. Sandy soils are naturally looser. Soil deposits where the particles are about the same size are also more likely to liquefy. Sometimes building on a deposit of soil prone to liquefaction is unavoidable. However, that doesn't mean all is lost, as there are ways to improve the quality of that soil. For one thing, there's compaction grouting. This is a technique in which a water, sand, and cement mix is injected into a soil deposit. This grout will increase the density of the soil and is easy to apply if the foundation of a building already exists. Liquefaction danger can also be reduced by making sure the soil can drain water adequately. Drains can be made out of a variety of materials in order to suit specific soil deposits and have the most effect when used in combination with other soil improvement techniques. By following these steps, hopefully, we can ward off more liquefaction-related disasters in the future.
Okay, everybody, the time has arrived for us to talk about today's lesson. Again, we're talking about soil liquefaction, cause, and prevention. That's what we're focusing on today. Last time we spent the entire program basically telling you what soil liquefaction does and what kinds of damage it causes. Well, today we're going to actually talk about some things we can do about it. So here in the first paragraph, we begin with a question. Since soil liquefaction is so dangerous or so disastrous, the question then arises, how can it be averted? Good question. Do we just accept this as a reality in life and we just have to suffer and hope it doesn't happen to us?
No, Tom.
No, we don't. We can try to avert this problem. Avert just means to avoid it and maybe to actually prevent it as well. But indeed, soil liquefaction is so disastrous. Disastrous means it causes a disaster. It causes great damage. It causes destruction.
I also love avert because in some movies and shows, they'll often use this phrase, avert your eyes, which means look away, avert your eyes. But it means to avoid here or prevent, ward off, prevent, avert disasters. Well, first and foremost, which it means this is the first and most important thing we need to do, avoid construction on soils that are susceptible or are easily liquefied, you could say, are susceptible to liquefaction. So if you know it's bad soil, don't build there if you can avoid it.
True, that's the first thing you can do. Prevention is, what is it? An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Yeah.
Exactly. So first and foremost, foremost just means the most important thing. So we must avoid construction on those soils that are susceptible to liquefaction. So I guess we need to use that land for something else. Nobody's going to want to build on a site like that if a map has been published showing the area to be prone to liquefaction in the event of an earthquake.
I say build a swimming pool instead.
Right, so when an earthquake comes, the swimming pool will sink and you'll still have a chance to swim to safety.
That's right.
Who knows? But in any case here, yes, avoid construction on those soils that are susceptible to liquefaction. Construction just means building things, the creation of a building, usually. My uncle Ted works in construction, for example.
Yeah.
Here we're saying soils. You might be confused here because soil usually is a non-count noun. How much soil do you have in your field there? But here, if we're talking about different kinds of soil in different places, then it can be countable. Don't build on different areas that have this kind of soil. Avoid construction on those soils that are susceptible to liquefaction. Susceptible means something easily can happen there.
That's right. This can be determined. How do you figure out if your dirt or soil is bad or good? Well, here's the answer. This can be determined by several criteria, one of which is the geological approach. If you determine something, you figure it out by looking at it and processing it, resolving something. So you figure out by using several criteria. These criteria are different things or principles or standards that you're going to use to judge something by. Be careful when you use criteria because it's the plural form of the noun criterion. Some people think that criteria is singular. It's not. You can say, I have a lot of criterias that I'm going to use.
Kind of like the word data. Data is a plural noun.
Sure.
And in this case, yes, we have several criteria, many criteria. And one of those criteria is the geological approach. Geological just has to do with geology, the study of land and its forms and stuff like that. And an approach is just how you come to a problem, how you deal with a problem. What approach are you going to use? What method are you going to use to solve this problem?
Yeah.
So yes, think in terms of geology, and then you'll probably be able to come up with some answers.
Yeah, my dad got his bachelor's degree in geology, so it's kind of interesting. He loves rocks.
Rocks.
Which was weird for me as a child, but we're going on. The type of geological process that created a soil deposit plays a really important role in this whole process of becoming liquefied. A deposit can be different things. Of course, we typically use deposit to talk about going to the bank and making a deposit, putting money into the bank. But a soil deposit is just an area of soil that's together, that's accumulated or come together, a soil deposit. It could be a natural layer of sand or rock or something like that, a deposit of something.
And we're always looking for oil deposits under the ground so we can bring it up to the surface and sell it and make a lot of money and get really rich.
It's true. It's true. So that layer of soil or the soil deposit is really important to look at because it will give you an idea whether your soil is going to become liquefied, turn into liquid. Soil deposits are created near rivers or lakes, water, that is, those composed of debris, those formed by weathering, and those that are man-made are all a little bit susceptible or all subject to liquefaction. Notice this sentence is pretty long, but it starts out by giving a list of all the different kinds of soil that are going to be a little bit easier to be liquefied. So you got to make a good decision when you're looking at building on some of these types of soil. So we've got soil deposits near rivers or lakes. Watch those.
Yep.
Soil deposits composed of debris. If you're composed of something, that's what makes you up. That's what you have inside you. Debris is kind of like junk, right? Trash.
Small pieces, fragments of things. It could be of rocks and stuff like that.
It's French, so we don't pronounce the S. It's just debris. It's not debris.
No, it's not. Don't even say that. You might give our students some ideas there. But debris, yes, an area where there is a lot of debris. Also, those formed by weathering, which means erosion, wind blowing on things, and water and waves and stuff where they wear things down. Kind of like erosion. And also, we've got areas that are man-made, okay? People made these areas. They put the soil there on purpose or something. All of these are subject to liquefaction. Liquefaction could happen in all of these different areas. And for those conditions result in very loose states for soil particles, okay? Because these kinds of conditions will cause these soil particles to become very loose. In those different situations, it's possible for you to have loose soil particles, which in turn can have liquefaction in the case of an earthquake.
So here's another key factor you have to look at. The chance, the odds of liquefaction also depend on what kind of soil it is. So the chance or the odds of something happening depend on what kind of soil it is. There are lots of different kinds of soil or dirt. Some dirt has more sand in it, so we call that sandy soil. For example, those sinkholes that I love to talk about, where the earth just opens up and things fall inside. A lot of them happen in Florida, where a lot of sandy soil is, because they're right by the beach, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get more sand if you're by a beach, that's for sure. It especially sticks to your feet, and it's very difficult to wash off after you've had a day at the beach. So yes, sandy soils are looser, and then also if you have soil deposits where the particles are about the same size, they are also more likely to liquefy. So I guess the key here is to have different sizes of particles. I guess they can kind of squeeze together better, whereas if they're all the same size, they can have lots of space in between and hence lots of water. This is quite complicated. We're going to take a break here. Oh, I'm so tired. We need to have a break now, but we'll come back in just a second. Please stay tuned.
大家好，欢迎收听 English Digest， 我是 Sunny。我们今天要接续昨天的课程，继续来看第5单元第2天的文章。昨天我们介绍了什么是土壤液化，今天我们要介绍更重要的一件事，要怎么防治土壤液化。我们首先来看文章的第一句。Since soil liquefaction is so disastrous, the question then arises, how can it be averted? 既然土壤液化造成如此灾难，于是这样的疑问产生了，要如何防治？我们来看一下 arise 这个动词，它和 rise、raise、arouse 这几个动词很容易搞混，要记清楚如何区别哦。首先，课文的这个 arise， 它的意思是产生、出现，通常是在讲出现问题或困难，像是 a problem arises、a crisis arises。rise R-I-S-E 的意思是上涨、上升，可以是数量上涨，也可以是高度的上升，像是 the sun rises。 第三个 raise R-A-I-S-E 有好几个意思，通常是关于把一个东西从低处往上拉高，例如你说 raise your hand 就是举起手， raise prices 就是涨价， raise public awareness 就是唤起公众意识。最后一个 arouse A-R-O-U-S-E 它的意思是引起、激起， 通常是和人的情绪有关，例如 arouse suspicion 引起怀疑， arouse interest 激起好奇心。接下来文章就提出了第一个防止类似灾难发生的方法，就是不要在容易受到异化影响的土壤上盖房子。那我们要怎么知道哪些土壤容易异化呢？文章第一段最后一句就说了 This can be determined by several criteria, one of which is the geological approach. 可以由几个标准来测定，其中之一是地质法。我们来看一下这个句子里的 one of which， 为什么要用 which 而不用 them？ 这是一个很常考的文法点，要特别注意哦。我们用一个比较简单的例子来说明。I have 3 hats, 逗点 one of which is blue. 我有3顶帽子，其中1顶是蓝色的。这个句子的逗点之前和之后分别都已经是一个完整的句子了，所以照理来说，我们需要用一个连接词来连接2个句子，也就是 I have 3 hats, 逗点 and one of them is blue. 那如果没有连接词的时候，就要用 which 来代替 them， 因为 which 除了有代名词的功能，还有连接词的功能。所以下次看到类似的考题，记得先找找看句子里有没有连接词，就可以判断答案是 them 还是 which.
So after Tom has a little nap, we'll be back.
Okay, we're back, and I'm newly refreshed and ready to continue explaining the remaining portion of our article for today. Now, sometimes building on a deposit of soil prone to liquefaction is unavoidable. Sometimes we have to do it. Building on a deposit of soil prone to liquefaction. If something is prone to something, that means that is very likely to happen. Like me, my skin is prone to sunburn. Every time I go out in the sun for longer than, say, 5 or 10 minutes, I get a really bad sunburn.
Wow,
because
really?
I got to avoid the sun as much as possible. So my skin is prone to sunburn. And here we're talking about soil that is prone to liquefaction. Sometimes you just can't help it. You gotta build something on that kind of soil.
So if you're prone to something, you're likely to suffer from something or to experience something. You're likely to experience that thing. It's typically something that's not good. You don't welcome it, or it's something regrettable. So don't use prone to talk about good things. I'm prone to win lotteries.
You are, huh?
No, we don't say that. I'm prone to cut my fingers when I'm cooking. I tend to do it a little too much. It's
Better
true.
watch out. Yeah,
I know.
Be careful. Yeah.
Stupid. Now, however, that doesn't mean all is lost or we just better give up now. We'll never get past this liquefaction. How are we ever going to survive? No, all is not lost, people, as there are ways to improve the quality of the soil that we're building on. This is the good news.
There are some things we can do if we can get the government to pay for it. For one thing, there's compaction grouting. This is a technical term here. I'm not going to try to explain it too much. The article gives us an explanation here. It says this is a technique in which a water, sand, and cement mix is injected into a soil deposit. So they inject it into the ground, basically, just like you're going to have some medicine injected into your arm if you get a shot, for example. This is a mix of water and sand and cement. Cement is a kind of glue, basically, and they just kind of shoot it down there into the ground.
Cool. Notice that that happens right before water isn't because of water. It refers to mix that comes at the end of this list of ingredients, you could say. So a mix of water, sand, and cement. I could also say that. This is a technique in which water, sand, and cement are mixed and injected into a soil deposit is also a possible way to write that sentence. So notice there we've got a mixture of things that they shoot or inject into a soil deposit. We're calling it grout. This grout will increase the density of the soil. It makes it just stick together a lot better. When you're talking about something that is dense or talking about the density of something, you're talking about how compact it is. Is it together very tightly, for example, or is it loose? So they're going to be able to strengthen the soil and increase the density by using this mix that they shoot into the soil.
Yep, compaction grouting is what it's called. So this is a grout, which normally is used in construction. It's a kind of paste that they fill in between tiles to fill in the spaces. So it's kind of similar here. It just increases the density of the soil, so therefore it will be less likely to have liquefaction. So it's easy to apply if the foundation of a building already exists. So if your building already has the foundation there, the lowest part there, the strongest part, then it's pretty easy to inject this water, sand, and cement mix into the soil. And liquefaction danger can also be reduced by making sure the soil can drain water adequately. Yes, drainage. That is pretty important. When you drain something, you get rid of the water. If you've just taken a bath, of course, you need to take out the plug there so you can drain the water. So here you need to drain the water out of the soil adequately or sufficiently enough.
Drains could be made out of a variety of materials. They use different kinds of materials because you can. They choose the material to suit specific soil deposits. So it depends on what kind of soil you have. Maybe you have a sandy soil, so they'll pick a different kind of material to use for the drain. And they have the most effect. They're most effective, you could also say, when they're used in combination with other soil improvement techniques. So here we could also say in combination, in mixture, in coordination. In combination means you're not using one thing by itself. You're using 2 or 3 or more things together. So that can help make that soil more dense and improve the consistency.
So that's something we can do. So all is not lost if you live in a building that is resting on top soil.
Thank goodness.
That is prone to liquefaction. So again, this is all about compaction, grouting. This is something you can do. And I guess the other thing you could do is simply move away. But now that everybody knows about this, they're going to know that your building is built on bad soil. So you probably won't get a good price for it. So I guess you're kind of stuck there.
No, look, we already know the answer to this is to go back and use that compaction grouting.
Yeah, if you can get someone to pay for it.
Well, you might have to pay for it yourself. You put it into the foundation and voila, all is well.
Hopefully, but I'm guessing that like a lot of things, once this is out of the news, nobody's going to be too concerned about it and not much will get done about it.
That's life.
That's just me, though. Maybe I'm a little bit pessimistic
life.
here.
That's life.
It is life, indeed. I wonder if they really made the changes to all that food that was bad last year. When they don't talk about it in the news anymore, then I guess nobody does anything about it. But hopefully someone did. But that's another subject. Hopefully, if you live in such an apartment building, something can be done about the soil. Maybe compaction grouting is the solution for you. Now, moving on to the final paragraph. It's actually not a paragraph. It's just a sentence that summarizes the entire article. It says, by following these steps, hopefully we can ward off more liquefaction-related disasters in the future. So yes, we're going to try to ward off those disasters. If you ward them off, you keep them away, you stop them from happening.
That's right. You may have heard of the phrase maternity ward. Maternity ward is a special area in the hospital just for moms who have had babies. So ward is a specific area, and if you have a ward, you might just have particular activities take place there. If you ward off, you're saying, hey, stay away from this, okay? Or stay away from me.I tend to have mosquitoes bite me at night when I'm sleeping. It drives me nuts.
You're prone to getting mosquito bites.
I know. I need to ward them off, and I do that by two things, using a mosquito light, which keeps me awake at night, and two, using off, which is a spray that I put all over my face especially. They love to bite my face.
I think that's a problem in Taiwan. Of course, mosquitoes are quite common here, as are cockroaches. It's not because of Taiwan. It's because it's a tropical area.
Yeah.
You're just going to have bugs like that all the time, and you need to ward them off using various techniques. But here we're talking about warding off liquefaction-related disasters. So hopefully the next time a big earthquake comes, and they will, hopefully our building will be standing nice and tall, and we'll all be safe and sound. Okay, that brings us to the end of our lesson for today. Here comes our Chinese teacher.
刚刚我们已经学到要怎么判断哪些土壤容易异化，那现在要来看另外一个问题，也就是如果逼不得已，如果我们一定要在容易异化的土壤上盖房子，那我们可以采取哪些措施来改善土壤的品质？其中一个方法就是用排水管来排掉水分。我们看到第3段说到 Drains can be made out of a variety of materials. 排水管可以用各种材料制成。这里有个片语 be made out of， 也就是 be made of， 意思是由什么东西所制成。有另外一个类似的片语容易和它搞混，那就是 be made from。 两者的区别方式其实很简单，如果制造过程中有发生化学转变或是本质上的改变，让我们已经看不出来它跟原本材料的关系，那我们才会用 make from。 例如 Bread is made from flour， 面包是由面粉做的。在做面包的过程中，面粉发生化学变化，也就是发酵，最后做出来的成品已经看不出来原本是面粉，所以我们用 be made from。那课文里的 drains 这个排水管呢，有可能是用水泥 concrete 或是塑胶 plastic 或是其他材料做成的。但是水泥和塑胶这些材料只是被塑形，它们并没有被改变本质，而且我们从外表看这些管子还是看得出来它原本的材料是什么，所以我们才会用 be made of。 以上就是今天的课程，谢谢大家收听。
That brings us to the end of our lesson for today. Hopefully all of you learned something new about liquefaction. I know I did as well. From all of us here at English Digest, I'm Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
Goodbye.
Bye.